My name's Mary Lily.
I'm Marshall.
And I'm Caitlin.
And we're the hosts of Unveiled Opinions.
Three newlywed girlies with a podcast on any and everything wedding related.
Hey guys, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, guys.
Happy Monday. How's it going?
It's good.
A rainy Monday.
I know. I chose to go get coffee when it was raining the hardest all day. But we put in the order out for pickup at Starbucks, so it wasn't like we could just be actually, no, we're not.
Yeah, just kidding. Canceled.
I know. So that was annoying. Driving up. I didn't drive, but Gil driving uptown in the rain. Lovely.
Yeah. It was nasty.
Mm-hmm. It was really, and then we took Connie. I was like, why did I do this? Why didn't I just leave him in the house?
Make it as complicated as possible.
I know, I really, really did. The whole
just
thing was
a family
so
outing.
But I needed caffeine. I was literally dying
in the rain.
I was I need to do stuff today. So I was let me get coffee. And then I haven't done anything that's on my list. So
it's the rain.
There's that.
It's raining and it's Monday.
Yeah. I know. I had to leave. I had a lunch meeting out and it was not pouring on the way there.
Mm-hmm.
I was oh, maybe, drive home. I was I don't know the last time that I drove in this bad of rain.
It makes you want to pull over on the side. At least me.
Yeah.
I'm I just want to pull over and not have to pay attention right now.
I was what is happening? And my mom's texting me a bunch of stuff. I'm I
can't do this right now.
I'm not okay.
I'd be I'll touch base later. We're not doing this.
I'm not safe right now.
I'm not the best driver on a good day.
Yeah, this is not a good situation for me.
And it's supposed to rain all week.
Yeah, miserable.
I know. And the golf tournament's in Charlotte this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't they post today or something that they weren't you couldn't go because of weather?
Oh, today? I forget that people go.
Yeah. My brother and Anna are supposed to go on Wednesday, but I don't know if it's literally supposed to storm all week.
Oh.
So I don't know.
That sucks.
I know.
Well, it kind of didn't rain this weekend, did it? It rained. What did everyone do for Mother's Day? What happened?
I don't know. This weekend was a blur. I don't even remember Saturday. But yeah, Sunday, Mother's Day, we went to Rock Hill and did this little, you got tickets to some sort of brunch. I don't know. Anna found it and it was really cute and they had a lot of good food. And we just did that with my mom and then my brother and Anna and Gil.
That's
and
fun.
Yeah, it was just a good little brunchy experience.
That's fun. My mom wanted to celebrate last weekend. She was in the mountains this weekend. So it was kind of weird. We didn't have plans. We went to church.
Yeah.
And then Kyle told me he wanted to go I wanted to go to this antique store.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was oh, and maybe since we're in the area, we can go by Tacovas. And I was oh, sure, we can pop in. I didn't realize he has 7 pairs of Tacovas. He has a lot of Tacovas.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's a lot.
Yeah. I didn't realize he wanted to buy another pair. I was how did Mother's Day turn into your birthday party?
Yeah,
And
to a shopping excursion for him.
yeah, and then after he was this is such a fun day. We he buys a new pair of boots and he's do you want to go get a drink somewhere? And I'm what?
I literally can't drink.
I'm will you buy me a cheeseburger?
I'm can we eat actually? Can we just have a mid-afternoon snack?
This could be fun because it's not.
Yeah, I was you went shopping. I didn't get anything.
You didn't get a pair of Jacobas, so
yeah, he was do you want to try anything on? I was no.
No.
I don't.
I don't want to do that, actually.
So he had a really great Mother's Day. I said, wow, happy early Father's Day, I guess.
Yeah, maybe you can have a really great Father's Day.
Yeah, I was yeah. I actually won't even be with him, so.
So maybe it will be. Maybe you can just do what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What about y'all, Mary Lily?
We just went to my sister-in-law, Mary Vincent's house. They own a bar called Goldie's, and it's also my niece's name, but it's a few reasons why. But so it was the second birthday of Goldie's being open this weekend. So most of my husband's family was in town. And so we went over there and saw all of them. And my parents came and Mary Vincent's in-laws came. So we just kind of had a big Mother's Day brunch at Mary Vincent's house, which was nice. And yeah, I'm just tired. It was raining and Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Matthew like all night to celebrate Goldie's being 2.
Oh yeah.
What a dedicated brother.
Yeah.
A hero.
Dedicated customer.
Seriously.
Well, what's new in the renovation moving world?
I'm moving in 11 days. Woo!
That's insane. I
That's
can't believe it's so
insane.
soon.
Yeah.
It's
And
How's packing?
next Friday. I haven't started.
I mean, you just found out you were moving. Like, for reference, it was like
We close on
tentatively
Wednesday.
June.
Yeah, we haven't closed on the house yet, but we close in 2 days. I'm not like, we
Yeah.
are closing on the house.
Yeah.
Like you are actually going to move to
Yeah.
this home.
This has been in the works.
Yeah, it's been good. We just want to get down there. We're like out of town a lot in June. And so we just kind of need to get out of the condo so we can like lease it out or sell it or whatever. But we need all of our stuff to be out of here. So that's really like
Yeah.
impetus. And like so I mean, today our whole topic is why we're moving, but Matthew and I like have always wanted to raise our children in like Augusta, and it's just a smaller town. It's much more affordable, just like kind of easier to get around than Charlotte. Charlotte's just like really grown. So we have been like looking for since December. Matthew's like, I love how you're like so not ready to move now, but you wanted to move for 6 months. And I'm like, okay.
But like wanting to move and actually like doing
Yeah.
it are like so different.
Well, yeah, it's like deciding like, okay, like, should we move? Am I open to moving? And then like, yeah, the act of it is 2 very different things.
Because one's really real.
Yeah.
Well, and
Which
we're
is-
moving out of town. Like it's a big move. It's not like in the city or something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Like you're moving states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew forgets that, I think.
Probably.
All the sacrifice.
The sacrifice, a hero. Well,
True hero.
as you said, that's exactly what we're talking about. Because I know, Marshall, you considered moving earlier this year. We did also. Mary Lee, you considered it and you're doing it. Is kind of talking about, okay, like should we move? And just as newlyweds, like getting to the point in your marriage of figuring out like what the best decision is and the timing and all of the factors that go into it. It is a lot. And so that's what we're unpacking today on the pod. Marshall, I know you and Gil have been in your place for how long has he been there now?
He bought it in March, I think, of 2020. So he's been here a while. I've been here since 2022. So
yeah,
been a little while now.
It's been a while. It's home.
Yeah,
home sweet home.
It is.
So and for both of you, like how did you get to the point of like deciding like, is this something we want to even consider?
So ours was like, so we were always going to stay here. Like, we planned like to have a kid and have like, be here at least for the first couple years. But then we had really significant water damage that came from our neighbor, and
memories.
It felt like, and it's still going on. And it really like, so like we had to get floors ripped out, like, like all this like stuff in the ceiling and mold check and everything like that. And like, I mean, it's literally still going on. We still don't have floors, and this happened in February. So, and then our AC went out, and it kind of just felt like one thing after another. And we're like, is this a sign? Should we leave?
Yeah.
So we did like look at a couple of places, all still in Charlotte, but we are pretty picky about where we want to be neighborhood wise. And then everything we looked at just like wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? It just, I didn't like anything any more than here. And I was like, let's just, get all the renovations that we have to get done,
Sure.
And then fix it up to how we like it. Like, cause I'm getting like wallpaper put in, like painting, stuff like that, and just plan to stay here for a couple years. And then, when we have a bigger budget and like can revisit moving in a couple of years, we'll do that. So I felt kind of like we were almost getting forced to look at stuff, like look at other houses. And it wasn't like our decision really to oh, like the timing's right. Like I want to move. Like I just felt like, do we need to get out of here before the ceiling falls?
Literally.
So it just, I don't know. I felt like it's probably just like not for us. It wasn't like,
it wasn't like,
best.
oh, this is like, you know,
it wasn't a positive experience, you know, like, so it was like, and then, you know, insurance started like working with us, and like we got a new AC unit, and like things are kind of like falling into place now. So it's like, okay, like I'm glad we stayed, because also we would still have to get all this fixed, sell it, and still move. So I was like, do I really want to add all that to our plate? Like
condos, like, speaking of someone who has a condo on the market, the average day of condos on the market is 2 months. So like, that's the other thing with like, once we found a house and then it was like, okay, well, the condo isn't gonna, I don't know. Everyone was like, oh, it's just gonna sell right away. But like condos are a little trickier because there's building dynamics and things like that, which I didn't really think about. Like I moved in my place in 2022. It's in like a really nice neighborhood, but like, the building is an old building, so like it's not super updated. So like that's a lot of the feedback we get. Like the unit's great, but when I step outside, like I'm in an older building, I'm like, yeah, we're in an older neighborhood. Like
it's gonna happen.
What you want me to do?
Yeah, you knew that when you looked at the listing.
Yeah, it's so it's really frustrating, and we are moving without having sold the condo now. So
we could have moved without selling it, and like we had planned at one point to like rent it out, but like honestly, like for what we wanted, it's best if we sell it to like then have that to put into a new place. So it stopped making any sense for us to move.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we could sell the condo, it would be like,
wouldn't that be?
It would be the dream.
Well, we just like have a lot of work to do on our house. So like the cash from selling the condo would have been great, but just as long as we don't have to pay 2 mortgages.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, condos and townhouses I've heard are harder sells, or can be harder sells. I've heard that since we've thought about it. So,
Well, I just don't think there are like as many people looking as you think. And then I've gotten a lot of like older people, because my condo is like 1 unit and there's an elevator in the building. And in Myers Park, it's kind of hard to find one with an elevator in the building and like in this price range. But like we've had a lot of older people now, like it's just too big of a condo. And then we'll have people be like, it's just too small. I'm like, okay, well,
that's on you.
Like have to come along at some point.
Like that's not it. Really constructive. It's a condo. You're not going to be doing massive renovations and
right. Like, what does anyone want me to do?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of similar but different, Marshall, because we did not have,
terrible things happen to your home.
We just like being pregnant. It was like, it felt like it was like the timing. There was a house, our next house, we want to be on the lake, and there's a house that's on the market in our neighborhood on the lake, and it's relatively in our price range. And we were like, holy shit. Like, and it kept sitting, and it was like, okay, are we just going to sit here and do nothing? You know what I mean?
Now
or should we
teasing me?
What?
Now you're just teasing me.
Yeah. It was like, should we like, if this is like our quote unquote dream, should we not like at least pursue this?
Okay, that is Matthew's whole entire like demeanor about this house that we are moving into. He's like, Mary Lily, like, I just think it's a sign from God. I'm like, oh my God, enough with this.
Enough with the signs.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a sign from God that I need to have a bathroom that looks like this for a few years.
Oh my God. That's funny.
Thank God, Matthew.
Well, it's interesting because it is it's a huge decision deciding, and there's
very emotional. Like,
it's emotional, especially if you're moving somewhere else. But then there's just like so much of the money side of it that like, I've thankfully been sheltered from having to purchase a home, because Kyle bought this house and he's moved so much. And so he's like a seasoned buyer seller. And so I don't know. I just was like, I didn't really realize how much even goes into it. I know that's so dumb, But he was like, well, this
But
is
you
how much,
haven't done it. So
yeah,
how would
it's
you
like
know?
closing costs and like the realtor fees. And I was like, damn, this shit, it's not just like the price of the house.
It's like that plus some.
Yeah. I was
It's
like,
that plus like 40 grand.
Yeah.
yeah. So it is, there's just a lot that goes into it. Mary Lily, you've talked about this before, but deciding like, okay, should we move? You wanted to go to Augusta. What was the two of yours like process of like deciding and landing on that and then like deciding that this was the right time?
Well, I guess I kind of started the conversation just because I have always had a dream of not working. And
Don't we all?
You're the dream that you're chasing.
yes. And I just knew that was way more doable for my sweet husband if we were in Augusta. It's just so much smaller. Like, we'll be able to kind of do it all. We're in Charlotte, we
Mhm.
might have been like slightly limited. Like, are we joining the country club? Everyone's joining. And I know this all sounds a little pretentious, but I mean, it's like the rest of our lives.
It's the
Um,
life you want.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just way more achievable there. Matthew's whole family's there still. And he has a lot of friends there. We're there like once a week and 1 week in a month, I bet, at least right now. So, and like when we're there with all of our friends and stuff, it does feel like home. Like when we
Yeah.
have to go back to Charlotte, I'm like, oh my God, I just like can't wait till I don't have to drive 2 hours to get back from Augusta. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to have all my stuff there. But at the same time, it's been kind of crazy. We didn't know if we were like gonna purchase our forever home or if we were gonna purchase like a home to be in and then like whatever. And we've kind of ended up purchasing what we think is going to be our forever home. It better be because I'm like not doing this again. And um
Not
that
gonna be
has been-
seasoned.
yeah.
Seasoned mover.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
thank God. I'm like, I'm never moving
I
again.
hate moving.
I hate
Ugh.
it. I'm like not good in any situation, let alone that.
It's a high stress situation.
Yeah, it's especially high stress situations.
So we're buying our forever home. So it's been
Yeah.
a little like intimidating because I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, like this is, the rest of my life. And we just like made this decision and like, is it the right one? And I think that also plays a lot into like the emotional stuff because we could have bought a way less expensive house, but we did get a really good deal on this one, but just a lot
Yeah.
of work and stuff. And so
Mhm.
it could be like so much easier. Like we could be moving into a house right now with like really nice bathrooms that only has like 2 bedrooms or something. And instead we're moving into a big house on 2 acres of land that I'm like not even going to see Matthew on. He's going to be mowing the lawn constantly. So,
Well, I feel like we definitely don't have 2 acres, and I feel like Kyle's still mowing the lawn
I'm
constantly.
never going to see
So
Matthew.
it's just
He's
home
gonna be
ownership.
lost in the yard. So I'm like, it's just a lot to take on all at once. And I
Yeah.
Mhm.
that is kind of the scariest part. It's like really exciting, but it's just like a big undertaking. I think when we were I've like recently been like, can we not just move into an easy house? Like, why this? And
Yeah.
Matt's like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's
Well-
something to be said about moving into move-in ready, but when we were looking at it, I didn't want move-in ready. Like I wanted to make it what I wanted. Move-in ready can be like very builder grade where you kind of you can make it like your own, but like it takes work. When I would just rather have a house that has character personally.
Yeah.
But then I also don't want to pay for someone else's upgrades, like because like you're saying it's part of the price tag. And then it's
Yeah.
like I don't like that, so like I want to redo it, but then it's like at that point can you even afford to redo it when you like
Right.
move
Yeah.
in, or is it like am
Like-
I gonna have to wait a little bit?
they updated it like 6 years ago or something. And
Yeah.
it's like different, like a color scheme, or like
Yeah.
the whole kitchen's like super white.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I just like don't love because I'm like a messy person. It's messy, very messy.
When you cook it's not the best.
Yeah, like so there when we were looking at that kind of stuff, I was like, no, like I hate these people think this is an upgraded bathroom. I was like, give me a break. I guess I'm just from Charlotte, but this bathroom looks old and dusty. And so that was
They
like
loved
another
you.
thing. I know. But I guess like fine. I guess I didn't want a newer house, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of do now that the time is upon us. I'm like, we could have been made this easier on ourselves, but
Well, I mean, to that point too, like the house that we looked at, because we were like, I feel like spoon fed a house, and we
Yeah.
weren't really, we looked at a couple others outside of that, but it was like not what we wanted at all, other than the fact that it was a massive house on the lake. And
Yeah. So like the structure and the
Yeah.
location.
And it's like we would have redone stuff over, like it would have been totally fine to move into. And
Yeah.
it's a beautiful house, but it's like it's not, there's no character. There's none of that. And it's like it just it adds up. And I think that's what when you go into like making this decision, it sounds like, I mean, Marshall, you guys did the research too.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I do feel like that's like a big part because I think you can have all these hypotheticals of like, oh, like, should we move? Like, I want this house and like browse Zillow for hours. But then it comes down to it and it's like, okay, well, is this even like realistic? And does what we
And
want even exist?
that's a big thing. It's like what actually, because I know you have to give a little on certain things unless you're building your own like dream home usually, which we're not. Unless like what can you actually like live without? Because, at least for me, I knew like I wouldn't get everything, at least not in the next home. Like maybe eventually, like but like it's like Mary Lily was saying, like, is this going to be our dream home? Like, probably, but like, it's like you don't go into it thinking that, like, at least not us, that like the next one that we're going to buy is like our forever, like,
Yeah.
dream home. So it's like, what can you realistically live without? And I feel like the things that I couldn't live without, like, we couldn't live without, was like location. And
Mhm.
it just, what we were having to look at was outside of where we
Yeah.
wanted to be, except for a couple places. But it was the whole thing like, okay, well, I don't want to live in this like millennial gray builder home,
Yeah.
or builder gray, whatever it's called, like house. I want to like actually like make it my own.
Millennial
But it was
brain.
already at like the top of our, like at the top of the budget. So once something's at the top of your budget, are you realistically going to be putting in like thousands of dollars
Yeah.
worth of work right away? I mean, maybe some people can, but
Yeah.
it
Well, and
wasn't
that,
us.
Not if you don't sell your condo.
Yes,
yeah.
which
But
Yeah.
we
we
picked
probably wouldn't.
our location. That's the other, like, our location's great. We
Yeah.
probably have the worst house on our street, which I think is good.
You get the worst house on the best street, though.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And you
so,
can prove it.
yeah, and we have like a really big lot, and I've always just wanted a big yard, and there's a pool, which I didn't always want, but like it's nice to have.
Yeah.
So it's like everything is good. It's just like now that it's happening in like 10 days, I'm like, oh my God, like, Matthew has to pull up the carpets, like, and all the whole bedroom wing before we get there. Like, there's just like so much to do. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
is really happening. Like,
It's a
allegedly
lot.
Yeah.
it is.
Allegedly, it is.
Allegedly, it'll be
Whether
the
your
carpet will be
stuff is
gone.
packed or not. Are you guys moving? Did you hire movers or?
Did you hire anyone to like pack stuff up for you? Apparently, you can do that.
Yeah, you
My old
can.
boss did.
Matthew's in charge.
Well, that's what's funny is Kyle's always had corporate relocation. So he's never had to deal with closing costs. He doesn't know what realtor fees are. He's never had to pack a box in his life. And so when we were talking about moving, that was a big thing that I had to like, yes, I've never like bought a house, but I've been through a move that isn't like somebody doing it for us. And my parents have movers and all that. But I was like, this is going to be a little different than what you've experienced before. And I'm going to be very pregnant if we move forward.
That's another thing. It's like when you're pregnant and you're looking, you have to like think about the months and like be like, okay, so am I going to be moving when I'm like literally could go into labor? You know what I'm saying? It like has to line, So that was another thing because we're like, well, if we don't sell this condo.
Yeah. That was a big part of like that we did. Our realtor even said to us, she was like, you guys are just settling on so many things. And then it's like the timing just felt like it had to like all magically work.
Yes.
And then being pregnant, it was like, I feel like there's so many unknowns. And then we just take on like this like huge commitment.
I think that's our big thing too, was like the unknown, like being like just not knowing when, and then with it being there's damages here, like we couldn't sell it. Like we would have to wait. Like we would have to wait for the floors, and stuff like that to be installed, which they're still not, by the way. So like this happened in February, and that's when we were like kind of looking, what is it, May? And there's still no floors. So that and it's just waiting around on people to schedule
their
and
stuff
install.
done.
Yeah.
The contractors. I don't envy you. Well, I do think the one thing is like it was a good exercise for Kyle and I to go through.
Yeah.
And like I know we'll like just the process of like coming together, having to talk about stuff, having to like create the time and space to really evaluate like what do we want our life to look like.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is for all of us. Like Marshall, I know you didn't totally live with Gil before. I lived with Kyle before.
Yeah.
Really, you and Matthew quasi lived together before. You did for you were engaged. I know it still feels so frowned upon to say that you lived with a boy before you were married.
Probably also just like where we lived.
But when I was engaged, we lived together.
I know. I sinned first.
You were the original sinner.
Yeah. But I felt like it was expected from me and it was unexpected from you. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking.
You didn't have a ring on your finger, girl.
Yeah, you're like, look.
So yeah, that long-winded thought. I think it was good.
No, it is a big decision, but it's Matthew and I have put in offers now in a few houses together. And I think every time create a really big conversation of kind of like, what do we see our future doing? Like, where do we see ourselves going in this house? And just kind of things like that of like this neighborhood, you know what I mean? Do we want to stay here? Do we want like, so I think I learned so much about Augusta too when we were looking, which was good. Like I learned so much more about like these neighborhoods and price ranges and stuff and just kind of like where everyone lives. So I enjoyed it because it was not my town, I guess, more. And it was just like these random houses that we would look at. It was fun. And like, you know, you do like make up this whole like thing in your head basically about like what your life is going to be like in that house. And then you're also talking about like, how much are we willing to give for this house? Because a lot of times now people are just like counter back.
Yes.
We didn't send in one offer that was like full price the first time. I don't think we ever have someone in those full price. And then if people sent us like lowball offers for the condo, I'm like, don't respond.
The audacity.
I'm like, ignore them. That's terrible.
That's insulting.
But I'm with you. I mean, it's like you don't know if you can get a lower price unless you ask.
Exactly.
As long as it's not offensive. As long as it's worthy of a response.
We wrote also letters. So our house, we did offer like pretty low for it the first time. And we had to come up about 70 grand. So it was pretty low, but whatever. Just
You tried.
what we could do. And oh, crap, what was I
You
just
were writing letters.
Yeah, you wrote letters.
We wrote letters that were like, we're a young family, like blah, blah, blah. And yeah, to try and like win people over, which I think is why we did get responses, which was helpful if anyone wants to like write a letter. Also, you can just type in what you want in ChatGPT. People were like, oh my God, Mary, this letter is like heartfelt. I'm like, yeah, I didn't write it. I just put in like bullet points.
AI.
Yeah.
But I have heard of people writing letters and it working out in their favor. So
A friend, Avery, who she really wanted to be in this one neighborhood, and they like went around and found all the houses they would like maybe want and put letters with like a picture of them and like their story and all this stuff.
Oh,
And
wow.
like, you're ever thinking of selling your house, like please let us know. And then they got a call. But that was like in 2021, I think.
I've known people that like my mom's gotten letters before and she's like, girl, I don't even own this house. It's a family house. But she's like, you're barking up the wrong tree.
That's funny. So yeah, lots of good conversations to be had. And it's a big decision.
It is a good chance though, like I feel like to maybe learn more about your partner too. Cause like you have to be really honest about what you want, like what you're willing, to spend or do or whatever. So I feel like it's a good chance to, like y'all are saying, learn a lot, but you have to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's Matthew on the phone with all these people, and I don't want to deal with it at all. Like, I'm like, it makes me a little nauseous to think I have to talk to these people about it. Like, I'll talk to you, Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not talking to randos.
So like I feel like I have to trust him, and like Matthew really wants this house. And so I'm like
Yeah.
also kind of trusting in him. Like I'm like, okay, but you really want this. Like I'll go along with this. But
Yeah.
like a big like on you kind of.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I feel like Kyle too, like, yeah, I would love to live on the lake, but that's always been his dream. So it's like kind of like trusting, like, okay, if you feel really confident that can work.
Yeah.
And it was funny, the things that we did learn, Marshall, to your point of like, he was like, I never would have thought that you would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
And it's just like the things that he came in thinking would have been my non-negotiables. And I'm like, no, like I can give that up. I don't care.
I learned a lot about like Gil's preferences on homes and just like design stuff that he likes. I just never thought like he had thought about it before.
Yeah.
So that
And
was really, it was like fun. And it was like,
Yeah.
and it was great because our stuff lined up. So it was,
That's good.
it was like a lot of our non-negotiables. Like I was like, this probably seems really silly, but like, I really don't want like A, B, and C. And he's like, okay, well, I don't want those either. And I was
Yeah.
like,
He's like, okay, you're not
awesome.
offending me.
You're like, I'm not offended by any of this.
Yeah. That's good. Well, any closing thoughts before we play our little game today?
I don't have a single thought in this head.
All right. Well, you better have one for this. We're going to play red flag, green flag for house hunting edition, since that's something we've all been familiar with of late. Okay. So what if a red flag or green flag shared driveway with a neighbor?
Oh my God,
No, but never. Red flag.
What about
that's a big thing in Dilworth, though. I will say, I feel like a lot of people have driveways that like are next to each other with no separation.
Yeah, it's big in our neighborhood too, because like
You
there's no
have to,
space.
like your neighbors a lot and like get along, or I feel like it's pretty contentious.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would need to like make an introduction pretty quickly.
You would. Yeah.
Make friends. What about a 5-minute walk to your favorite coffee shop?
Green flag.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Sounds good.
Marshall's like, I mean, it could be closer, couldn't it?
I mean, to be fair, I do have a coffee shop at the end of my street that I sometimes drive to, but it's like a 3-minute walk, to be totally honest. But it's uphill.
Not the
It's
hill.
uphill.
Not the hill. Well, what would
Yeah.
it be if your house backed up to a cemetery, or the house backed up to a cemetery?
You know, I almost bought a house that backed up to a cemetery and I did not care. I thought it was cool.
I feel like in South Carolina, that's like a big thing. Like, you know, like
Really?
in small, yeah, like there's a lot of neighborhoods that have like random, like small cemeteries. And also there's like cemeteries at a church. So
Yeah.
depends on.
Well, I
I don't know.
also feel like Mary Lily growing up going to Jacqueline's house, and there was the cemetery in their neighborhood. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh.
I was like, she lived on a golf course.
Wow, something I remember about high school that you don't. This is the best day ever.
Never happens.
What? In Valentine?
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's crazy. There were graves like on Ole Miss's campus from the
Mhm.
war, and like I remember like taking my parents to them. Also, weird fact is when we used to go on road trips when we were little, my mom would pack us a lunch. We would pull over and usually eat lunch in a church cemetery
Mhm.
because we would like eat it
Yeah.
like outside.
So you
Yeah.
girls are cemetery
fine with it.
girlies. You're a green flag there.
Yeah.
And then what about a rooster that may or may not be yours?
I would call, if it was at the city limits and they had that, I would literally report them so fast. Like, I hate that shit. Absolutely not.
Roosters don't lay eggs.
They wake you up at 5 a.m. My brother has chickens and they accidentally gave him a rooster the first time and he had it for 18 hours. And he literally like called and they're like, take this thing back. Like, I was like, you didn't know that was a rooster?
And like scary. Like roosters can like attack too
Yeah.
if they're threatened.
Yeah. And they'll
Alright.
attack other chickens too. Yeah. So no, that's
So
a
we're-
no-go.
I
Green
thought
light.
about getting chickens, but birds really freak me out.
Yeah. They're a lot of
Or-
work.
Yeah, it's a lot. My brother has a whole chicken coop. I mean, the eggs are nice, but like, it's nice that he has them and I
I
don't.
have enough room, like I wouldn't have to
Yeah.
like see it from the house, but like at the same time, do I want to deal with that just for some eggs? Like, nah. I know they're
Mm-mm.
expensive right now.
I feel like you got it. Like, it's got to be like a hobby or something that you just like really like. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I have a dog.
Roosters, get out of here. Tombstones, you're in.
Yep.
That's a wrap today.
That is. Ghost girlies, not chicken girlies.
Well, thanks for playing, girls. Make sure you subscribe.
Rate and review.
Follow us on TikTok.
Follow us everywhere.
Yeah. Message us. We like messages.
Yeah, send us a DM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And until next time.
Bye.
Bye.